everyone, Paul and Tasha Scale Modeler. So welcome to part 3 of our Great Wall Hobby F-15 build. First off, I want to apologise for the amount of time it's taken me to get another video up. It's been nearly a month, I really do apologise. I'm trying to get these up every 2 weeks if I can. But if you've seen the last news show, you saw I was a little bit burnt out. I've done like 4 large videos in like 10 days and I got a bit burnt out. So I said I was going to give myself a week off, which I did, which was great. Got a lot of work done for myself. Still managed to do a couple of reviews, even though I said I wasn't going to. Then I got hit with man flu, which knocked me off for about a week. Then I had a migraine for 2 to 3 days, which absolutely destroyed me. And this is the first day I felt okay enough to actually do a video, so I do apologise about that. Also, personal life, if you've been keeping up with the forum at all, you'll know that myself and Hannah are expecting this little wiggler, our first child, in late September. We're both over the moon. I'm especially ecstatic. We've been planning this for a long time, and it's finally come to fruition. So we went for our scan on the 11th, got the all clear. That was our 12-week scan. We got our 20-week scan in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks now. Hopefully we'll find out the sex as well. I'm not going to do the usual thing like people do. Oh, it's the best one-to-one scale model I've ever built, blah de blah de blah. One thing I will say, it's definitely the most enjoyable model I've ever built. And everything fitted well with no flash. But that's enough of that. So that's it. It's been quite a hectic month, but back now, and we're here where we were last time with the F-15. So time ran away of itself a little bit last time. I didn't quite get as much done as I wanted to do. If I grab the instructions, where we're at now is basically as we ended last time. We got all the instrument panels decaled up, seats are painted, the cockpit consoles painted up, the joysticks painted up, cowling's done, and all the side cockpit sidewalls are all done as well. So what we plan to do today, I'll leave the instructions because we don't need that for the part. We're going to dry brush a bit of light grey into here, which will give a lot of detail to the raised surfaces. We're going to dry brush the seats, the black part of the seats, and a light grey, same as the cockpit. This cowling exactly the same as well. Once that's all dried, we're then going to, in the meantime, actually we'll probably do it first, we're going to put a bit of clear into these instrument decals to make them look a bit more screen-like, and again this can have a bit of a wash at the end as well. So we'll do that first so we can dry. I'll show how I do that. Once all the dry brushing's done on the seats, not on that, and on the sidewall panels, and more than likely the instrument panels, we'll do my usual Tamiya XF highly thinned wash, which is just airbrushed on quickly, left to dry, dries in all the recesses, and that gives a good worn look to the cockpit. Now on the cockpit consoles, we'll apply a little bit of, if I grab it and decide which colour, the Ultimate Modelling Wash Concrete. I've got the 2 shades of light and the dark. Probably go for the dark one, which is our current one. That's the Mark II. And that will be brush painted into all the recesses and all the gaps, and more than likely 90% of it will be taken back off. If you see my F-16 build, you see exactly what I've done. And what that does, all these little, if you can see them and get to focus, all these little lines and panels in there will all become more apparent, and that's where we're going to do it. So what we're going to start off today, I'm going to put all these out of the way. What we're going to do, I'm going to grab a little cup. Another handy little tip, these are Tattoo Artist ink cups. You can get them on eBay, dirt cheap, a couple of quid for like 50, and they're great little tubs for decanting liquid and what have you in there. That makes it really easy to use. So what we've got Johnson's Clear, which I decant into a smaller bottle. This is your normal floor polish. You could use any clear you want. You can use PVA, anything that dries clear and gives either a raised effect or a shiny effect is what you want. You're going to need a fairly pointy brush, which we will use. It's a bit too small. Go for that one. Got one of Tamiya's Pro brushes. Give it a wipe, give it a little clean before you do anything with it. Swirl around in the old paint pot. What we're going to do, where the decals are settled inside, each one of them's in a tiny little recess. So what we're going to do is load some clear upon the brush and just touch it into the recess. Now I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. What it's done is basically put like a a ball or a bubble of clear in there, and because it's a raised area and it's a recessed area, it's going to sit in there. And once it dries, it gives a rather good effect of making it look more like a screen or glass, if that makes sense. Because obviously they are instruments, and I'm going to guess they are analog instruments on this, because obviously the dials and not displays. So they're going to go behind glass. So it's just a case of dabbing it in, like so. Try not to let it overrun, but if it does, it's not the end of the world. We're not putting a ton of it on the brush, just enough to give the effect we're looking for. And then on the bigger screens, you're better off starting in a corner. And there you go, you can really see it on that top left screen now where it is, and you can see what's shiny. Now hopefully that'll dry and give a good effect. So once you've done it, put it out of the way, leave it flat, put it well out of the way. I'm going to put it up on top there, and then do the other one. So like I say, it does give a good effect. Worked well on my MiG, and these decals did go down nice. There's no silvering on them whatsoever. I can turn to catch a light, so obviously the microsetting sole's done its job. I'll just do these ones and we'll get on with the dry brushing. So forum has been going absolutely ballistic again. So many new people joining. It started since Christmas and it's just getting busier and busier. It's absolutely superb. Me and Lee are very, very happy how it's going. Some fantastic builds on the go, loads of group builds. We've got the Rain of Steel one, the artillery one, the bombers SIG. There's loads of individual little SIGs by groups on YouTube. I think Nigel Wells has got his Africa group build. I couldn't think what it was called then. There's a few others out there as well. Cohen and again Nigel was starting a Challenger 2. It was a trumpeter kit, 135th Challenger 2 buddy build. I managed to get one cheap with a resin upgrade set, and I've joined it with them. Well, I kind of bullied them into starting, to be honest. Well, they didn't. I just started. They followed suit. That was about a week ago, and mine sat on that shelf all built and painted. Just waiting for its black camo scheme. Sorry guys, once I started building that when I was ill, I just couldn't put the thing down. Really enjoyed the change of pace of building a bit of armour, which I haven't built for a while. And also with not filming, it's so much quicker building stuff because you ain't got to stop. Obviously I can't upload 10 videos of this in one go because they'd never get viewed and you probably get bored of watching them after about half an hour. So there's got to be spaces, and with that it does make the builds drag on a bit. I mean, I have drawers next to my desk here, my workspace. There's 4 of them. They've all got my current builds in. Top one's got the Corsair, next one down's got this, next one down's got the Tamiya F-15, and the next one down is the Trumpeter Challenger. Not all the bits are in there, but all the decals, photo etch, anything that can get broken, canopies, etc. are all kept in there. And you know, I've got a lot on the go at the minute, but they're all done individually. I do Emols vid, you know, I'm trying to do them twice a month, these twice a month. The technique guide videos are finally done. God, that's dragged on for me, that. Nice to get that out of the way. The final video went up yesterday, I think it was. So that was great. There's both of those instrument panels done, so we're fine there. Just going to clean my brush. Yeah, so that techniques guide's done. I'm glad a lot of people have found it useful. I've been asked to do an armour one, and I know Cohen's done his shadow build of his, I think it's a Jagdpanzer, if I remember right. You know, Cohen certainly knows his stuff. That's on something World War II. Later on in the year, I've got a couple of projects and plan to do this year. One's for ISM's D-Day build. I've got a couple of personal ones I'm going to do, but later on in the year I think I will do an armour step-by-step guide. Not a build, a tutorial. I'm not an expert, I never ever claim to be, but that techniques guide's proved useful for a lot of people, a lot of positive comments, and it's really, really nice to see. So if people find them useful, I will do an armour one at a later date, but it will be modern armour. I've enjoyed doing this Challenger. I've got a Hobby Boss Merkava, and I've got Trumpeter's T90 in my stash. That T90 I'm dying to build. So I've got a couple of good kits. I've also got Tamiya's Taron 5, which, although it's not modern, it's, you know, 70s, 80s, that I might do as well. So later on, near the end of the year, say, you know, the last quarter of the year, I may start doing the step-by-step guide. I don't think it'll take as long as the aircraft ones do, because it's a different way of doing it with aircraft and what have you. So there's different steps and different ways of doing things. So I definitely will look at it. I know a lot of people asked, so we'll see what we can do. Right, while I'm waffling there, I've got a bit of paper down. I'm going to put that out of the way actually, because it makes the white balance go mental. I'll drag it in to show you guys what I'm doing in a bit. We've got the cockpit consoles. We've got a bit of Tamiya, Mr. Hobby 334 Barley Grey. It's just a generic light grey. As you can see, it's a really, really light grey. And what we're going to do, we're going to load up the brush, as you can see, like so. Get our kitchen roll, and we're going to get everything off we can. So as you can see, it's going to keep going and going and going until there's barely nothing left on the brush. Put that to one side. And then we're going to start picking out some details. Zoom in a little bit so you can see. Hopefully I can keep it in camera in shot for you. All we want to do by dry brushing is pick out all that raised detail. Now you may do this, you may take too much off. You may think it's not enough, but give it a go and give it a chance first, because you'll be surprised what it will pick out with hardly any paint on the brush. Because what you don't want is it picking out too much, and to me that's perfect. As you can see, that brush was not really giving out anything else on the paper. That's giving out just the right amount of surface detail. Whether you guys can see that, I don't know. There you go, you can see the light catching it all there, all the raised detail, all the buttons, switches, the hose, everything. And obviously if you go in one way, if you're just doing that, make sure you go back the other. What I like to do normally is that. So you're just whapping it from side to side, back to front. If you can see that now, brought all that detail. Now you may get away with doing a couple, you may have to load it up again. To be honest, what I prefer to do is load it up again so you get consistent results on all the sides. It does take a bit of time, it is a bit time consuming and a little bit fiddling, but that's a great effect. So, like I say, we've got that, oh god, that Challenger 2 buddy build on the go that's got Cohen, myself, Nigel, Devon's joined us, Switzer's joined us, I think Easy 896 is, I think Chief's going to buy one. So it turned out from two people, which was Cohen and Nigel Wells, to me kind of hijacking it a little bit. It's not my buddy build, it's an ISM buddy build. It wasn't my idea, it was Cohen and Nigel's. I've just jumped on board and kicked everybody up the arse to get going on it. But I've really enjoyed doing it, and that Trumpy kit, it's okay, it builds well, but it's not the nicest one. Again, Tamiya's one, I think that's going to need quite a bit of work anyway, so they're all going to have the pluses and minuses, but it did go together well. I built it in about 3 days, and I enjoyed every minute of building it. I'm painting it, priming it, and I've got the camo pattern to do next. I've gone for a green grey, the NATO green, and the grey, quite synonymous with the Challenger. What I'm going to do, I was going to go for an Iraqi setting, but I've changed my mind now. I've seen a tank that's been on trials or test at Bovington, which has got the enhanced armour, the birdcage armour, all the reactive armour on the turret in the sides. It's still manned by, I think it's Royal Tank Regiment, man them, at Bovington. But it means I can do it in the green grey, because if not, most of them deployed to Iraq and they come in. I've got the Barracuda, which is green side armour, and the tan on the Barracuda net. Or they are literally the sand tan colour. So I didn't want to do that. If I finish, I might end up buying another one, because I kind of got way ahead of everybody at the minute. I might build another one, I might buy the Tamiya one and do that. And like I said, I did get a Barracuda upgrade kit with mine, which looked an absolute pig, and I didn't have the patience for it, to be honest. I just wanted an easy build. So I've sold that. It's actually on eBay right now. It's doing quite well as well. So really enjoying it. Nice to see everybody else joining in. I'm just sorry I jumped the gun a bit and got way ahead, or maybe I shouldn't, but that's just me. You know what I'm like. If I'm not slapping as much aftermarket on something as I can, I'm a quick builder. Especially if I'm not videoing it as well. Alright, there we go. Probably a little bit heavier on the back than the front. But you can see the detail we've got there. There are a bit more raised surface on the back down the front. I'm just going to try and get a little bit more on that front. This last brush load I've done is a little bit heavier than the other, but I'm happy with that. No problem at all, but you can see the effect it gives. If I can get the light off, it gives the raised surfaces a nice bit of detail. So that's that done. So what I'll do, I'm going to do all the seats, that instrument cowling, whether it's gone over there, give all this the same effect all the way over it, and we'll come back in a minute once we're done. Otherwise we're going to run on with the video. Okay, so there's everything dry brushed. I've let it dry. As you can see, there's the cockpit as we left it. Also raised detail, all these panels, they're up. Maybe a little bit too pronounced on the back, a little bit heavy, but at the end of the day, it's your model, you model it however you see fit, and that's the way to do it. Top cowling's done, that's come out very nice. So what you're essentially trying to do when you dry brush is get a little bit of grey on the black to dull it down a bit, because nothing in real life is black, everything's a dark grey. And then all this raised detail is just like that, so you can see all the panels, all the lines, any hoses and what have you get accentuated, and on the seats it works especially well. You can see on this side, that's a tip, don't go on too heavy, make sure that brush is totally dry. If you can see the paper, if I go on the larger cam, you can see there the amount of paint I've taken off is a lot just to do those, so you just want a really dry brush, hence the reason it's called the dry brush. But this side's about right for me on the top. So as you can see, that leaves the seats a little bit too clean. You want to get a bit of detail in there. If I can get this to focus for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a black wash in it in a second. Same on the other seat. As you can see, all the detail pops out then. Ties it all together. Like I say, nothing in real life is black. Nothing at all. Everything's dark grey essentially. And modelling that in models, that's a good way of doing it. Spray it black. Especially a flat black or a satin black. To give something to grip onto. And that's that, so they're done. So what we're going to do now, if I feel the way of doing it, quickly as well, the dry brush I use is a Vallejo brush. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It's a Vallejo number 2 flat brush. What I've done is literally, you can see the state at the end of it. It's well and truly battered. I've cut a little slit at the end and put DB on it, so I know it's my dry brush. All these orange brushes, the £2 a pop, I built the whole set. I just use them for weathering, washes. I know what specific ones are for because they're written on. And it's a real handy, cheap way of doing it. And they're not bad quality. I have noticed some of the ferrules come off. They separate. You can simply just super glue them back on. I know it's not ideal, but they are good brushes. I've lost no bristles. They work really well. This thing has been well and truly hammered as a dry brush, and it works well. I've also got a Citadel and a Vallejo dry brush. Let's get the right way, because you could have a job dry brushing at that end. Certainly give an interesting effect. I've got Vallejo and a Citadel. Now these are really stiff. This one's actually dried. Give me a second. You can see they're a lot stiffer. Now I've found this one's a lot softer. It can give a little bit too much of an OTT effect. This one, because it's longer bristles, it's nice and soft. You can literally whap it from side to side like it was showing, and you don't put as much down. So I prefer to use that, if I'm honest. And they're cheaper as well. They're about £4, the Citadel. I think they are. It might be cheaper actually. I might be talking rubbish. So what we're going to do now is trying to figure out the best way of doing this. Is we'll apply the Ultimate Modelling concrete wash first. What I'm going to do, you've seen me do this before. I grab my wash brush, or one that's appropriately sized. Let's go for that one. Make sure there's been nothing on it. Giving it a good shake, which you should do anyway with our washes. So it's a concrete one, as you can see. Shake it up. Now if you look in the top, we've got loads of froth. I'm going to try and use the froth to pop it in between our panels. Now what we're trying to do, between each section of buttons there's a line. It's a recessed line. You'll be able to see a little bit in a minute when I've done this. I want to accentuate that line. because we've got the dry brushing, which shows the buttons and the dials and any raised surfaces, and then we've got the grey, which will sit in the recessed panel lines. So what we'll do, we'll pop this on. Because we're using the froth, we're not actually using the liquid. It's going to dry really quick. It's a lot less messy. If I get liquid in that, it's going to end up all over this cockpit, and we don't want it everywhere. We just want it inside there, like so. And just check it around. You'll be able to see now on the left hand panel, you can see we're starting to collect in the lines and what have you. And what we're going to do, once that's dry, we're going to use a real stiff dry brush, and we're just going to batter it all out. If it needs to, we'll dampen it slightly, and we don't want to leave anything on the flat or the raised surface. We just want to leave it inside. So that's the way we're going to do it. Like I say, if you've seen my Tammy 132 F-16 build on the forum, you see exactly what I did, and you can see the different effects from how thick it was. But as you can see, I'm just using the froth because it's a lot more controllable than using the actual liquid. If it was a larger part, I'd just slap the liquid in like you do doing a panel wash on the aircraft. If you've watched the 109 vid, you'll see me doing that, and that's how I do it. Now you get the whole hog, you can start putting washes in the footwells and what have you. You're not going to see it once the seats are in, this cowling's on, the instrument panels are in. You ain't going to see any of that down there. You could dry brush it all if you wanted. Like I say, you're just not going to see it. So pointless. The only bit that's worth having the wash, excuse me. We got another one coming? No. The only place having the wash would be in this rear section here. What I may do is drop a little bit of our dark dirt in, I think, or a little bit of light dirt. So we're popping a little bit of dark dirt, and we'll just let that set. And like I say, once we're done, we get all this off, and it's done. So let's put that to one side to dry. I'm going to put the lid on that. I'm going to grab a bit of dark dirt. I want the new one. I've got the plus here, obviously, because I part own UMP. I've got the old and the new, so I've got all the different tones and shades. And this is our Mark II dark dirt. Tell the Mark II. It's got the proper barcode label on the back. And again, all we want is a bit of froth. Now, should I use the dark dirt? No, change of plan. I'm not going to use the dark dirt because we're going to use the Tamiya XF1, the Hardy thin one, for the rest of it. So I want it to match. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Right, I'm not going to go to the spray booth because it's not worth it for these few little parts. Dragging all the cameras over and setting it up. I'm literally going to be spraying for like 2 seconds. So I'm just going to put a bit of paper down just at the back to catch anything. And what we're going to do, we're going to lightly, I've got my airbrush here, as you can see, being a bit naughty, don't have the booth, but it doesn't really matter. Just make sure I can see my camera. There we go. So all we've got is Tamiya XF1, highly thin, the lid's stuck on. So I'll grab my Mr. Hobby bottle opener. If you haven't got one of these things, they are absolutely awesome. One of the best tools you can get. So it's probably, we're actually running out if you look in there, so I'm going to bung a little bit more thinner in. I'll add a bit more paint at a later date. It's probably 70, no, it's probably more, probably 80-20 paint, 80% thinner to paint, so it's really thin. And what we want to do is when you're spraying it, you've seen me use it before, you just want to spray, you don't want to be blasting it on, you just want enough to spray on so that it settles and it sits in recesses, buttons and what have you, and it just gives a bit of raised effect to an area and nothing more. You don't need a lot. Pre-thin it in your bottle. As you can see, I've got it written on mine, thinned XF1. Make sure it pulls through. Obviously, don't be spraying like this because it's not good for you at all. All we're going to do is get enough of it on there, like so it sits in the panels. Same on this one. So as you can see, it's black. You can see it's all collected on the edges. So what we're going to do now, we're going to leave that, and we're going to leave them so they are up vertical. So gravity pulls everything down. I'm going to pop them to one side there. Excuse me if my ugly mug gets in the camera. We'll pop that one there as well. Now, like I said, I didn't know what I was going to do on the back of this. What we're going to do is that. The beauty of it is, because it's liquid, you can spray it in, move it around. And again, if you've seen my Corsair build where I was building the engine, you can spray paint in, you can get a bit of Vallejo airbrush cleaner. I said this last time, I think Vallejo airbrush cleaner is a load of crap as an airbrush cleaner. It doesn't remove anything near as ours does. I think it's pretty useless, but it has its uses on a cotton bud. It'll take off paint without disrupting the surface underneath if you're nice and gentle. So if you do go a little bit of OTT, I mean, one of these is a little bit dark, as you can see. So I can come in, a little bit of Vallejo cleaner, take it off, job done. That's not a problem. Same on that, we can take it off if you want, but it gives a nice worn effect. And again, taking off all the raised areas, sorry, when I shot, taking off all the raised areas, and you've got a nice effect there then. And we're going to do exactly the same on the seats. So I just want it around the harnesses, on the cushions, and on the headrests. Like so. Now you can leave it as is. Like I say, you can come back, take a bit off, entirely up to you. I will see how it looks when it dries. Like I say, using the Vallejo, you can take it off a little bit. Obviously, using our thinner, you're just going to take all the paint off because it's that good a cleaner. So don't rub it with our cleaner because you'll have no paint left at all. And then, obviously, because it's liquid, like I say, you can manipulate it around a bit. Use the air to dry it off. We don't want any on the black. Sorry, I keep going out of shot there. We don't want it on the black because there's no point because you're not going to see it. And that's it, really. So it dries really quick. As you can see in the back of there, it gives quite a good effect. That is very nearly dry now as well, so we'll take that out. I'm just going to pour that back in there. Clean the airbrush. We'll give it 5 minutes. I'll pop back and we'll get that wash out the cockpit. Okie dokie, they're all dry now. As you can see, we've got a nice worn effect to everything. The ejector seats. I may respray this black and redo the dry brushing. It's bothering me a little bit because the rest of it's spot on and a little bit's too overdone. So I'll get all this done today and I'll just get that respray. It'll take me 2 minutes to do. Obviously, beauty of acrylics, you can just spray over stuff, start again if you so wish. Now, side panels are done, they've dried. The cowling, we didn't put a wash on, doesn't need it, it's dry brushed. Now, I've been using this Temex F1 technique for a while now. I picked it up with another modeler. You know, most techniques I've got are from different modelers all over the web. Techniques I've, you know, found myself and what have you. You know, no one's going to be, you know, totally original. We've all got people we haven't looked up to or we followed. Mig, I follow Mig religiously. A lot of his armour techniques are mine. Other techniques for aircraft are picked up at various different places. You know, you'll see them pass along as you go. They're not my techniques by any means, but I pick and choose what I use and hopefully pass it on to you too. Now, what I'm thinking of doing at some point is ditching the Thindex F1 technique and using Vallejo's acrylic washes, which I'm a massive fan of. I use them all the time, and I don't know why I don't use them on cockpits. You can apply them with a brush, because if I apply the Tamiya with a brush, because it's got thinner in, it'll reactivate the paint underneath, cause problems. With the acrylic paint it doesn't, and it really does work well with this stuff. And you can take it off totally and start again. So I'm happy the way this looks. The side panels were a little bit OTT, so what I've actually done is I've resprayed them. I'm going to be honest, not going to lie to you. So if you are using this technique, for a quick blast on the seat it works fine. Back of the cockpit again it works fine. When you're spraying it on here, I think it's a little bit too OTT. So if I get a chance at the end of the video before we go together, I'll just show quickly the acrylic washes, how they work. What we're going to do now though is all the UMP concrete washers dried. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it's all dried, as you can see. We stop the shaking. There we go. It's all set inside all the panel lines and the gaps, same on the back, but it's also sitting on top of all the raised detail. Now, because we're a clay-based washed, and yes, some people are saying we're not, but they are clay-based. They dry nice and chalky. You can get most of it off with a dry brush. There's nothing on this brush, by the way, it's totally dry. And we'll probably get about 60% off. And again, you can see the dust, if you can see the dust plume coming off these now. You know, if that's the effect you want, leave it be, but for me it's a little bit too OTT for what we want. But you can see there it gives a nice weathered effect and what have you. So what we'll do now is we'll wet the brush, just normal tap water, and I'm just going to bung it on the desk there, right in front of us. So we're going to wash the brush first, on there and a little bit of tissue. No idea what's been on that brush, but it's black, whatever it was, so maybe we'll use a different brush. Choices. Yeah, you'll do, as long as you don't get any colour out of you. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not sure what's on that brush, but it's black, so I don't like going on our wash. Probably more wash, to be honest. Right, so what we're going to do is going to dampen the brush. We don't want it soaking wet, so I've literally dipped it in the water and dried it off. So as you can see, we're not really leaving anything behind. I'm just going to lightly moisten where we're done. Not with any pressure, we're just going to put it on, let it soak. Move on to the next bit. I'm going to do 2 panels at a time. Then I'll come back. Right, dry brush off, a little bit of tissue. Dry it off, clean it, whatever you're going to do, and then start brushing away. Now what that should do, it'll start to foam up again. Keep drying the brush, and the dry brush will pick up any excess you don't want, and you can physically see it. I don't know if you can on camera, but I can to my eye. There we go, that'll do. Same on the other side. Just moving it around, getting it out where we don't want it and putting it where we do. Happy days, and as you can see, if I can get the camera to focus, shows off a bit more of the detail. Once it dries, obviously when you wet it, it goes really dark. Once it dries, it should start showing off more of that detail. And again, if you're not happy with it, there's not enough in there, just put it back on, start again. Very, very versatile, our washers, very, very useful. They were developed, it took a lot of developing and testing, tweaking, what have you, to get them to work as we wanted. So I'm going to shot, just drying the brush off as I go. And you know, they do what they say. They are clay based. One day I'll split open a bottle of ours. If you let them sit, obviously we've got them in large quantities for when we're melons people. If you let them sit for a while, say a month or so, they all settle. All the components all settle at the bottom. And I have actually opened one before, and I have actually poured all the liquid away, leaving behind all the clay on the bottom, and it's thick, clumpy clay. So anyone says there's clay in there is talking absolute rubbish. And yet somebody has been saying that, spreading rumours. Not going to say who, but I promise you they are clay based. Now, as you can see, the front one's dried, back one's still damp. There's still a bit too much in there. So again, this brush is still slightly wet. Just going to go over it again. It's just a case of going over it a couple of times till you get the result you're after, which is we don't really want the panels grey. We want everywhere else in between them. Sorry, again, I shot. Everywhere else in between them to go grey. And obviously that looks really good with the raised detail being dry brushed. But there we go, so we'll let that dry. Looks nearly there. All the other parts are ready, the seats are ready, so they can go to one side. The cockpit consoles, cowling's done. Let's have a little looky-see on our instrument panels, which I'm about to drop one. Oh, that's worked very, very well. If I can get, like, you see the light catching in the all the dials? Yeah, that's perfect, great effect. Dog hair there, let's get that off. The plague of having 3 dogs, and 3 dogs that sit in the man cave with me. So there you go, there's those. We'll let those totally set for a bit, and catch the light again, there you go. Gives a really good effect, real nice effect. We'll leave those to dry, to check the other one. What I think we'll do is we'll get that, yeah, superb. It's worked rather well. We'll get that Vallejo black wash in a little bit, and we'll give that a go as well. So I'm just going to mop up my desk. Let's have a look at these consoles again. They're near as damn it, not looking bad at all. Probably do a little bit more off. You see it's a little bit patchy in places, but I'm going to let it totally dry, and we'll see where we go. So I'm going to grab this black wash, excuse me when I get up. Right, for those who haven't seen, these are water based. I've had them for a few years, I've been using them for quite a long time now. As you can see, it's the black shade 73201. You see it's a well used bottle. I'm going to zoom it out. It's a case of, we got a mix of pots, which I've got there with a brand new one. It's a case of mixing it with a bit of water. Ooh, nearly, lid came off inside, jeez that was close. So we'll use it. You see how thick it actually is. There's quite a lot in there, to be honest. We don't want that much. So we got our brush. Which brush do we use? A bit too thick, so we use one of the Tamiya ones. Use that one. So what we'll do, because the lid's come off, we've got a bit too much. So you can see I'm just picking a bit up at a time. That'll do. A couple of splashes of water. This is the technique. I've been thinking about this for a while. It's not as random or hit as miss as with the Thindex F1. Still works as well, but it's a bit more user friendly to use. As in, you can take everything off if you want once you're done. So I'll zoom us back in. Now you see me mix it. There we go. So clean your brush off, treat it like paint. What we're going to do, any areas like this here, we're just going to pop the wash on. Any buttons or controls. Again, you could airbrush this if you wanted. But stuff like this, so I think it's a bit better. We focus there or not? It's hard to say. I haven't got my monitor on today. Just got the camera LCDs on. So what we're trying to do, all the switches and buttons, we're just trying to get a little bit of detail on. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Make sure we're focused. So as you can see, we just got all the buttons at the top. Pop it around there. Any of these vents or grills, or I'm not even sure what they are, to be honest. Anything like that. As you can see, all it's doing is pooling in recesses or around raised detail, like so. So you put that to one side to dry, we'll move on to the next one, and we'll do this on that side console as well. Obviously you don't have to be deliberate, you could just literally slap this on, but because we've got the decals, because we cleared, I don't want to be doing that because they kind of ruin our hard work. There we go, a couple of buttons there. Like so, and with this stuff you can layer it, it doesn't take long to dry. In acrylic it'd be dry in 5-10 minutes. You can let it all go. Anything raised, get it all around there. And if you were clever and steady hand, you could go around all the instrument binnacle, the glass covers, because they're all raised, but for me, I'm happy doing that. And what's the case, so let it all dry, come back with a Vallejo airbrush cleaner, lightly rub over it and you'll take it all off. Well, not all off. You'll take it off all the raised areas, leaving it in all the recessed. Now same for this, but we're going to use a bigger brush. So just give that a quick clean in the old pot. Grab a larger flat brush. That'll do. Tamiya, the flat brushes I use. What we're going to do, there's not an absolute ton of it on the brush, but there's enough. Again, any raised or recessed areas, we go over it like so. As you can see, all the buttons will have you to collect it on top. Once you put it on, don't muck about with it, leave it be. Obviously you don't want it really thick, so if you do put it anywhere a bit too thick, just dry your brush and it'll suck it all up. And there we go, we'll leave that to dry, and again come back with the Vallejo airbrush cleaner and I'll take it off. Same on this one. We'll let these dry for a bit. I'll quickly show you taking them off. So hopefully we'll get this in the fuselage halves, the front nose cone halves today. Maybe get a bit of glue in there, and then we're ready to start on the next steps after that. So again, you can come back, let's just double check these. We're nearly there. As you can see, it's still a bit patchy in places. You see that there and here and at the back. So it still needs a little bit of work, but it's giving a good effect. And again, we could come back in and apply this wash in the back here if we so wished. In fact, let's put it all in there. Like I say, because it's a water-based wash, it doesn't react with the paint. If that was paint with thinner in, it's going to start reactivating the paint underneath, so that's no problem at all. Just give that a quick clean, and then we'll give that other wash a go over again. Let's have some water, we'll pop it in the thing this time. So again, because we see specific areas, we can target those areas now. Getting any of the wash off in places we don't want it. I know it seems a bit monotonous, but the effect you get is rather good. Nice and simple as well. You could do this with oils, enamels, anything you wanted, but you've got to be more deliberate and apply them like a pin wash, whereas this you can just slap it on, come back and remove it. And again, you can dot and dab, or you can just grab your Q-tip and drag it over, which is probably the quickest way of doing it, but not as purposeful. There we go, we'll leave that to dry. How are these doing? They're still drying as well. So I grab the old instructions. So where we're at is literally step 3, page 3. Now we're on 4, which shows the cockpit all needs gluing together, which we haven't done yet. The 2 fuselage halves, nose radar, moving on to the nose cone, drilling some holes ready to go. Obviously, like I said before, it's going to be well worth adding a bit of nose weight, which for me I'll be using a lead shot and super glue. And we've got the intakes, which will be next time. We'll start getting the intakes together, getting in the top of the fuselage, or the bottom of the fuselage rather, which then leads on to the wings, ailerons, flaps. These are the amendment ones. So start getting it together then. Once you get that to the engines, onto the fuselage halves going together. So again, the cockpit is a fiddly part, always takes a bit longer because there's a lot of detail to add and remove and whatnot if you're doing it in this way. They're going to take a while to dry. Seats are all done. That one's ready to go. That's looking better now. Yep, that's looking the part. So nice weathered effect in there. If you wanted to, you could leave it just being dry brushed if that was the way you wanted to do it. I quite like the effect in between the consoles. Again, you can have more, you can take more off as when you wish. So I'm going to let all these parts dry. We'll come back, we'll get some glare remover, airbrush remover, cleaner, not remover, and we'll get some of that wash off there. Okay, everything's dried now, that wash is dried. You have to be quick because I'm running out of time. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I've only got about 15 minutes left on my memory card, which means we're at 45 minutes now, and that's the limit video try and keep. So what we've done, we've got one of the ejector seats in. Just slides in the top, I'll show you the other one. So there's 3 locating lugs on the back, along the top here. They locate into the ejector seat rail, and you literally push it down like so. It's a one-shot deal because if you pull it out, all the paint's gone off your seat. But as you can see, we're looking quite well in there. All the wash is off, and what I've done, I've added some white buttons, a couple of red and a couple of green. I've used Mr. Hobby H1, H26 and H3, which is white, red and a green. Now I've used artistic license where they go. I haven't followed a guide. Just remember, it's not the Starship Enterprise. They're not all multicoloured. 90% of the buttons are grey. So I've added a few grey, a few white, literally 2 green and 3 green and 5 red, just in random places, and then a few white ones, and that starts to tie it all together. So that's that done. To apply those, I've used cocktail sticks. I just lightly dip it in the paint and then very, very carefully touch where it's going. Literally touch once. Don't put too much paint on because it'll run all over the hard work you've just done on your console. So that's that. I'm going to show you very, very quickly using the Vallejo airbrush cleaner how to get the wash off. I've taken it off everywhere else. I've just got this one last bit to do. So dip it in the airbrush cleaner like I've just done, wipe her off on a cloth, look about where you need to remove it and just rub it around. Same principle as taking the washes off, but the more you press, the more chance you got of taking paint off. So you just want to lightly, what I find best is go over it once, go elsewhere, come back, and that seems to then settle into it. Soften it up. You can come back, get the majority off. As you can see, if I get the bit of fluff off, what you're left with is some of the recessed areas are black. The buttons are black. You may not be able to see it very well, but I can see it there very well. Really well indeed. So that's that. So that's how I use it. It's very, very good. Just don't go over it too much. It's just that stuff. It's got a small bottle. It's only the only Vallejo airbrush cleaner I've got. And that's it. So I'm going to quickly glue all these components together. So we've got the sidewalls, the instrument panels, and the cowl. I'm just going to glue them all on, and then we'll show putting them all in the fuselage nose front halves. Okay, so all the fuselage together. It's I put it in the fuselage halves, the nose, just a dry fit. Looks a bit of a tight fit, especially underneath. It's going to need maybe a bit of clamp. I may not have it in properly, but I'm not going to glue it in today, so I'll investigate that for next time. Just looks to be quite a tight fit. Obviously, front of this we've got the nose-mounted radar. I'm going to zoom it right out this time. Got the nose-mounted radar, which slots actually really nicely in between those two parts. I'm not going to put them in yet. And then we've got the nose cone. Now the nose cone, you've either got the option of having it open or closed, not both. So we're going for the closed. That's a real nice fit on there. Going to need a bit of filler top and bottom here and here, and it's going to need some rescribing as well. So you're going to need a rescribing tool, and I recommend trumpeters if you can get one. It's very, very fine detail, so you're going to be very, very careful. But you are going to lose some of that detail by sanding, and you're going to need a riveter as well. But you can use a pin or a pin vise if you want for doing that. Any advice you want, just send me a message on YouTube or Facebook. Spent a little bit of super glue on my cockpit, so I need to put a little bit of matte coat in there. Rushing things, try and get it done on camera. Stupid, absolute stupid mistake. But a little dab of a flat coat on that, and that's going to be fine. So we'll pop this out. We can get it in. Now the way this fits in, there's two little lugs either side there, and that's where it appears to be a little bit tight. So I'll investigate that before next time. But as you can see, all the tubs together, all the sides are glued on, the top's on, the instrument panels are in, the cowling's on. There's a front one for this one as well, and it'll look quite smart. Obviously, if you're not happy with it, you know, you can touch it up again, you can change things and what have you. You can still get all these parts off. These are glued in place, but reactivate it with a bit of extra thin, you get it off again. I just need to add a little, you can see it there, just on my seat and on my console. Absolutely stupid mistake. A little drop of super glue. Wiped as much up as I can because I didn't want to take away the surface detail, but a little bit of a flat coat, you won't even see that at all. Stupid mistake on my part, but never mind. At least it's in a spot that you can't really see as such, so it's not on the actual aircraft itself. So there we go, that's part 3 of us done. I'll be back, I will be back soon. I'm going to do an E-Models Corsair vid, probably, where are we today? Thursday today. Yeah, I'll probably do an E-Models vid, probably Monday, Tuesday, so at the end of next week I hope to get another one of these up, and we'll start getting them up a lot more regularly, hopefully every 10 days, a week, 10 days, and that's it. So that's us for today. We got to that part. If there's any questions you've got, and there is one thing I've forgotten as well, and absolutely stupid, I remember before, I haven't put the decals on the ejector seats, but they can go on at any time. I'll stick those on off camera, and I wouldn't mind, but George actually messaged me and reminded me, asked me when I was going to do it, and I said today, but I've forgotten again. But they only go at the top, so they can go on at any time. A little bit of microsol, a bit of flat over the top, you never know they're there, but that's what you get for video building. You can't remember everything, but there we go, all the cockpits in. We're going to get this done for next time, and I'm going to put some weight in there. I'm going to put a bit of lead shot in there. I've got a nice bag of it there, bit of super glue on top. That'll dry for next time, because the MiG-29 was very nearly a tail sitter, so hopefully this won't be. So, but we'll do that in the next part. I'll show it in the next part, I won't do it off camera. But there we go, I'm going to investigate this, make sure it's nothing I've done that's making it tight, and see if there's anything I can improve to get it together. But you're going to need some filling. You will need one of these, which is a rescribing tool, and I've got a trumpeter riveter as well, but you can get away without a riveter. But these are only a few quid, they're not dear at all, so you're going to need one of these, and probably a scribing template or so Dymo tape as well. But that won't be for another couple of parts anyway. So there we go, Paul from International Scale Modeler. Hope you enjoyed that. Good chatting to you guys, and I'll be back very soon, hopefully in the next 10 days with part 4. So I'll catch you then, I'll see you guys on the forum.